Just a few weeks ago, I foolishly came up with the idea of seeing if I could beat the current men's hour world record. Well, here I am outside the Newport Velodrome in Wales to see how I can get on. So before I head inside and see what I've got, let me take you through the bike and some of the kit that I'll be using to help me take on this record. Now, in case you haven't spotted so already, the bike I'm using today is an e-bike, and a Derestricted one at that. So I'm quite a long way from meeting the specifics of the rules and the regulations for an official UCI hour world record attempt. But nonetheless, here we are. So the bike I've got is the Canyon Grail on. Now, before you start typing in the comments section saying, ha, what an idiot, he's bought a gravel bike to indoor velodrome. Yes, I'm very much aware of the fact that this isn't the usual bike that you'd ride inside the velodrome. However, it is the bike which is going to give me the best chance of beating that hour world record because it's delimited and we've got all of the assistance from that electric motor. But there are a few other little trick parts which I want to show you, so let's take a look at them now. Providing the assistance that I need to take on this record is the Bosch Performance Line CX motor, which provides 250 watts of assistance and bags of torque. Or if you don't measure torque in bags like I do, that equates to about 85 Newton meters. And the best bit is, being away from the public roads, well, it means we've got no speed limiter. To provide the motor with the power that it needs to work is a 500 watt-hour battery located in the down tube. Now, theory says that should have a large enough capacity to last for the hour, because that's all I need to do. However, I'm not too sure on this, and the fact that the electric motor isn't 100% efficient, because common sense says a 250 watt motor with a 500 watt-hour battery should last for 2 hours. However, I'm going to have it turned up to its highest setting, and I'm a little bit skeptical if we're going to last the entire hour. Well, I guess we'll find out soon. Monitoring my own efforts are a set of Wahoo power meter pedals. Now, these are not yet officially released by Wahoo, but nonetheless, they work by using strain gauges inbuilt to the pedal axles themselves, and then we've got that housing which holds all of the technology and the hardware to make them work. Paired up to the bike are these deep section carbon wheels. These are tubeless ready, and matched up to the wheels are Pirelli P0 TLR tyres. These are 30mm wide and set up tubeless. Now, for a speed record attempt like I'm going to be taking on, I would probably have opted for the P0 race tyre set up with a latex inner tube. However, at GCN Megabase, our tyre stock didn't have that tyre in the 30mm width, which is what I need for these slightly wider rims, because of course this is usually set up as a gravel bike. Right then, onto this huge chainring. Now, usually this bike would have a far smaller size chainring on, which would be perfectly suitable because it's a gravel bike, so designed for a little bit of off-road and on-road riding. However, I was a little bit nervous and skeptical as to that chainring providing a large enough gear for the speeds that I'm hoping to ride at inside the velodrome. So I've opted for this absolutely massive chainring, which is a 62 tooth, and would you believe it, I actually just had it lying around in my garage. True story. However, the issue with mounting this chainring onto the motor was that the BCD, or bolt circle diameter, of the chainring itself was different to that of the motor. So with a little bit of faffing around and a little bit of thinking outside of the box, I've got an old chainring guide mounted onto the motor, and then I've drilled that guide and drilled the chainring to mount that onto the bike, which is not exactly the ideal situation, but it should be more than fine for the short period of time that I'm going to be riding the bike. It also serves the benefit of spacing this large chainring out away from the bottom bracket, because otherwise the frame doesn't have enough clearance for this 62 tooth chainring, and it would be catching on the chainstays. So yeah, a little bit of a modification, but it serves as one of the key components to hopefully help me take on this record. Now the rest of the components on this bike are fairly run-of-the-mill as to what you'd expect to see on any usual road or gravel bike. We've got the SRAM E-tap group set, and then we've got some carbon fibre crank arms mounted onto this Bosch motor. The only other difference that I've made here is I've spent a bit of time really giving the chain a thorough deep clean and applying a small little bit of lubricant to try and save a couple of watts here and there. But, you know, it's a small detail. So other than that, fairly a run-of-the-mill stock bike. So what about some of the other bits of tech that I'm going to be using? Well, instead of my usual GCN shorts and jersey, I'm going to be using this plain black Castelli skin suit. Why am I using this one? Well, I didn't really fancy stealing Ollie's used skin suit. Seemed a little bit weird to me. This one is going to be perfect for riding indoors. It's figure hugging, which is great for aero, like very figure hugging. And we've got a mix of smooth and textured materials to help reduce the aerodynamic drag as much as possible. And plus, well, a black skin suit looks super cool, doesn't it? Having been part of GCN Tech for well over a year now, I've so far managed to avoid wearing a ridiculous looking time trial helmet, but Ollie does assure me that today is the day when it could well make a difference. So here we go. I've borrowed his time trial helmet, and the best thing is it's got this cool visor, which not only is going to help me look incredibly cool and like RoboCop, I guess, it's also going to serve the purpose of keeping all of the wind out of my eyes, because the speeds I'm going to be riding at, well, wind going in your eyes is actually going to be a thing. I've also roped Manon in for the day. She's going to be here helping me with some pacing, some timing, some general track tips, and no doubt also giving me a little bit of, hopefully, encouragement as I'm going round. Now, other than that, and maybe my Wahoo head unit that I'm going to use to record the data and the distance that I ride, that's pretty much most of the stuff that I'm going to be using for the event. So I guess all that really leaves is for me to pick all my bits and pieces up, head inside and get sorted out. And well, if you want to see how I get on during the record attempt, well, the full video is over on GCN, so head over and check that out. And for now, well, I guess I hope if you enjoyed this video, just give it a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments section down below not only how you think I'll get on, but what you think of my equipment choices and if you'd maybe do anything different. Right, see you later.